We should take a moment to acknowledge what happened back there. You killed a god. The god of the living lands. Your god. How does it feel? I wonder if a god experiences suffering like the rest of us. What a loss. But to exist is not always a kindness. There is peace in death for those who knew none in life. Sapadal's imprisonment shaped this island. Now that everything's changed, I'm curious what will happen. We cannot know if the living lands will normalize or destabilize as a result of our actions. For better or worse, change is inevitable. Let's hope it all works out in the end, because the other gods aren't coming to answer our prayers. I hope you don't mind me bringing it up. The subject matter is a bit much for our little camp. Just be careful what you wish for. I want you to know this has been an unforgettable experience. Wherever we go from here, I'm grateful to have been a part of it. You have an inquisitive mind. I respect that. If you ever feel your education is missing something, I'd be happy to teach you what I know. All you have to do is ask. Not before I've done some reading. I must admit, I had my doubts about Solace. It was like a dungeon, except the wardens were the prisoners. You could have helped Kostya destroy the keep, but you left it standing. Why? I agree. A decision like this belongs to the community, not the ambitions of one man. Even if Solace isn't going anywhere, I think your arrival was a sign of changes to come. Wherever you go, you break people out of their habits. You banish the old ways. Then it's a good thing you're here. Better late than never. Wherever that power comes from, whether it's your heritage or political status, it's a terrible burden. I don't envy you, but at least you keep things interesting. You know me, always ready with an answer. Excellent. The Imperial Court taught you well, but I suspect there were gaps in what they call an education. If there's anything you've been dying to learn from an Animancer, now is the time. Of course. I won't be far. Can we? How much do you really know? Very good. We severed the Adra and Naku Kubel to slow down the Dream Scourge. But at what cost? Still, I wish we had better options. The souls of the dead who go looking for a passage to the beyond will have nowhere to go. They'll be lost in darkness. Some will find their way to an Adra pillar, far from Shatterscarp. But others could wander this land for centuries. Possibly. Probably. Eventually. Try as we might to help others, we won't always succeed. Even the dead can suffer the consequences of our actions. I just wish the world and its problems would leave us alone. Even for a moment. Give us time to focus on our mission. Ourselves. I suppose you're right. Maybe that's the point of our little campfire chats. I've bothered you enough for one day. Let's talk later if you want. You know where to find me. Go on then. Excellent. If there's anything you've been dying... Unfortunately, that can take a lifetime. It's the sad reality of our work. But I'll give you the short version. Now, let's begin. You, drifted off for a moment. Were you paying attention? Really? What's the last thing I said? Oh, I stand corrected. Even if you had dozed off, no harm done. Besides, a little nap is good for the soul. I slept through my share of lectures, and look how I turned out. That's all I have to teach you for now. I'll chime in if anything else comes to mind. Neither can I. I never used to believe in destiny. Life always felt meaningless, like groping through the dark. But in a good way. All of that was before the garden. What are the odds that you and I meet? And after a series of mishaps, I learned the truth about my family's past? You're going to give yourself a headache squinting like that. I don't know if that was destiny at work, but it feels significant somehow. Whatever you choose to call it, a coincidence like this does not happen every day. Let's appreciate it for what it is. Moments like this are few and far between. Thanks for talking.
How to know when to be quiet. What a lovely gift to find on my pillow. I'm starting to suspect that every single leader in the Living Lands is incompetent. Truly, is there no vetting process? Hopefully those in Solace Keep will choose their leaders with more care in the future. But we should check on Marius. I'll make him some soothing perfume, but I think a few words from you would help too. Well, of course, I'm not suggesting it's always a fix for issues. But those poor Pargrunen are clearly prisoners of their traditions. I think getting rid of the keep could have helped more than they realized. I do not envy the Pargrunen in any case. Meeting that council gave me a new appreciation for Vidaro. There's always a way for things to get worse, dearie. I wouldn't be surprised. We're losing focus on the important things. Things like the garden. Oh, come on, Envoy, let's get going. How can I help, darling? Tired already, Envoy?
Everything your people have done, you have the gall to offer us terms of surrender?
It's not surrender. I'm offering you a seat at the table, Governor. All of you. But we should all choose wisely. We will only get to make this decision once.
After what's happened here? You're out of your mind.
How desperate do you think we are? You might as well hand us a declaration of war.
Strong words for weak stomachs, I think. No one wants to be the one who decides. I'm just telling you how things are, and how they could be. I can't force your hand.
What a mess.
Things moved fast while we were in the garden.
Envoy? Is it really you? Mihala told us you went into some place called the Garden to seek a god?
When you didn't return, we took you for dead.
Did you meet your god there? The one whose marks you bear?
The origin of the Dream Scourge? It was the act of a god this whole time?
Everyone, please, please. We could get to the bottom of this if you would only let them speak.
It's been weeks, Envoy. What happened? Finally, a ray of sunlight shines through the storm cloud.
I will not grovel at the envoy's feet for solving a plague I am not convinced was real.
If you wardens ever bothered to pull your heads out of your asses, you wouldn't take such pride in your ignorance.
You know nothing of me or my people, you fucking pirate!
Warden Commander, look around you. Is this really the time?
Giata nearly had me convinced the Dream Scourge was some infection of essence. How could you stop such a thing, Envoy?
Sapadal was responsible for the Dream Scourge. Their rage, their confusion, their fear.
But the plague isn't over. Dream Thralls still litter Shatterscarp.
There won't be any new infections. We've put a stop to that for good. Unfortunately, there's little we can do for those already in the grip of the Dream Scourge. We can give them comfort, nothing more. This will be a process. The Dream Scourge was never going to simply go away overnight.
I suppose it stands to reason. I found that a quick fix is often anything but.
What of this god, then? What does it mean that you destroyed them?
Well, you might not believe me, but I didn't want any of this to happen. It was Ludwine who called for the attack. She and her steel garrote laid siege to the city, shortly after you beat her to the garden. The lawful settlement of a new Adiran colony, supposedly. Or the establishment of a Wodekan state. She could win with a godlike in her ranks. Your presence would serve as a powerful endorsement. I suspect that's rather the point. If they don't believe in the strength of her convictions, she'll show them. Remember, she has an obligation to Wodeka, a solemn oath. And neither the Steel Garrote nor the queen that was look kindly upon oathbreakers.
You did. I kicked her corpse when you weren't looking, just to be sure.
Well, she's seen better days, but you wouldn't know it judging by how she fights.
Ludwine's plowed through the militia like a knife through warm butter.
All right, let's keep the similes to ourselves.
Regrettably, she's not in the business of making exceptions for people she deems oathbreaker. So long as her passion for Wodeka lives, so too will her spirit.
Then we destroy her faith, and the rest of her will follow. I have a theory about this. Let's talk at camp if you want to hear it. But I think we can kill her.
Oh, good. That will be easy.
It is not, I think, impossible. Well, you might not believe me, but I didn't want any of this to happen. It was Ludwig who called for the attack.
I didn't hear an answer, Ambassador.
The Steel Garrote broke through several days ago. As far as we can tell, Central Paradise has been completely overrun. What citizens still live are no doubt in hiding, including many of my people.
You couldn't have known this would happen. Don't take the guilt of the Steel Garrote upon yourself.
Some Paradisans got out, but we expect hundreds have been killed.
We brought as many Hail and Abel from Thirdborn as would come. But after the Dream Scourge and our losses from Nakukubel, we could spare so few. I worry it won't be enough.
Likewise, my wardens are still reeling from effects of the eruption. The keep was saved, but there is much to repair, particularly if we are to endure a siege. Most of my men remain at the keep. I can't risk them against the Steel Garrote for the sake of Paradise, not when we are so few.
Well, that's been a point of debate. We can't agree on how to stand against the Steel Garrote, nor who should lead the effort.
Nobody wants to risk their people at the front.
So you let the Paradise militia go it alone? Even if our meager forces should make it inside, the siege won't end until Ludwig does. And none of you know how to kill her. Precisely.
Because a victory here would discourage resistance elsewhere. The better question is, why didn't you stop her?
Excuse me? She's a 7-foot-tall skeleton powered by her devotion to the goddess of retribution. This isn't my fault.
Sure. Just blame the dead woman. Very mature.
Who else should I blame exactly? Our envoy, perhaps? For not stopping Ludwig and the Tusks?
You could start with blaming your own incompetence.
Ludwig's the muscle. I'm merely the personality. What was I supposed to do? Frown her into submission?
What good are you as a diplomat if you can't even keep your own beast under control?
The Inquisitor was so convinced the Living Lands would unite against Adir that she's nearly made it true. One people, one law, one true God. That's Ludwig's vision for the Living Lands. That's what Ludwig thinks. Adir doesn't revere Wodika as fervently as it once did. Worship of Mogrin, Berith, even Aethys has gained a foothold. Many no longer trust that the gods are listening. Some question whether they guide the wheel at all. The Empire lost its foothold in the Eastern Reach. The well-bred avoid child-rearing in pursuit of cosmopolitan pleasures. The Church is weak against them. In a world of soul against soul, Ludwig believes we have lost ours. The Empire must change, or it will die. I'm afraid you're in the minority there. You and I both know she is not the only one in the Empire who feels this way. Even the Emperor can see, in some sense, that she's right. Why else would we be here? The Inquisitor answers only to Wodika. In attacking Paradise, she has dragged us all far beyond the bounds of the Emperor's desires.
can't wait to see how you weasel out of this one.
I know it will. We are leading by example, returning order and dignity to Paradise in the wake of the Clavager's death. We will do the same to the frontier, given the chance.
Where was order and dignity when the Steel Garrote attacked my home?
My administration had nothing to do with that, as I know you know. Adiran rule and rule by the Steel Garrote would be markedly different beasts.
Spoken like a fucking diplomat. Splitting hairs when it all comes from the same head.
Order and dignity. That's what you think we're missing? Bastards! All of you!
Isn't Paradise, its port, its trade, enough for you?
What passes between Ludwine and her men, or between Ludwine and the Emperor, for that matter, is not my affair. But if I had to guess, this was the alternative. Ludwine agrees. Our success would model the order and dignity of the Steel Garrote, for whatever that's worth.
You can say what you want, but you're still trying to subjugate us.
You think I'll ignore what I've seen with my own eyes? The Empire has brought us nothing but chaos and suffering.
When I think dignity, I think of the people who attacked Fior Messiverno unprovoked.
I've answered your questions. Now I would like you, all of you, to answer mine. Ludwine has sent a message to the Emperor informing him of her attack. He will send advisors and reinforcements swiftly in response. What will his representatives find when they arrive? A new colony? A budding grave room? Before you face Ludwine, you should know what you're fighting for. All of you must decide, together. But whatever you decide, understand, the days of the frontier are done. Adir will come. Indeed, we are already here. Well, don't leave me in suspense. I believe you'll find the Emperor agrees.
Not all of us.
Solus will have no part in this, now or ever.
Thirdborn refuses to be involved. Test our cannons at your peril.
We should never have tolerated a single Adiran on our shores. Our people showed them hospitality, and in return, they conquered us.
Wonderful. I'm sure everyone will adore working under the yoke of Adir.
It is decided. I will tell the Emperor's men that Paradise will become a colony of Adir. That leaves the matter of Ludwine and the Steel Garrote. She will never surrender, Envoy. Not even the establishment of a colony would satisfy her now. You must kill her, or we will lose Paradise, and eventually the island.
Whatever happens to the living lands, at least I can kill Ludwine. I'll take that over nothing.
She better say her goodbyes while she can.
I'm proud to fight at your side, Envoy. One last time.
Let's get to work then. We've got a walking corpse to bury.
The Paradise militia will be at your back. Give her no quarter. The future waits for you.
Show them a fight, Envoy.
Gather your forces and secure the eastern gate. From there, take back the main plaza. I have faith in you. When my homeland needed one, we all do what we must. Gods be with you, Envoy.
Let's take back the city. Whatever happens tomorrow, the Steel Garrote can only make it worse.
Let's go free a city, shall we?
Can't sleep? Neither can I. We're going into battle for the soul of the living lands, rallying under the banners of the Paradise militia. Your Emperor will not be pleased. Political influence is dangerous. If you aren't careful, it can turn against you. When a godlike fights in battle, people take note of which side. The Adirans will doubt your loyalty. The locals will doubt your commitment. You may even doubt yourself. This is the first time you were told to pick a side. And I fear it won't be the last. This conflict has really pulled you apart. Worse, it's put your soul at risk. From what I understand, your ambassador is very persuasive, very powerful, and very accustomed to getting his way. For a politician like him, losing a battle is not a defeat. It's an opportunity. When he promises you the world, don't listen. He'll fill your head with lies if you let him. I'm glad we understand each other. It's good to see you fighting for the misfits and rabble-rousers. Time for you to get some rest. We have a big day ahead of us. In truth, I'm not as worried as I used to be. I've been thinking about the Inquisitor. Formulating a theory, you might say. A Death Guard clings to their existence by force of will. Stubbornness, unfinished business, that sort of thing. Ludwig is held together by faith, and that may be her undoing. Precisely. Faith is the foundation of her reality. Faith in the righteousness of the gods. But according to her faith, Zapadal should not exist. A new god independent of hers? Blasphemy. By that logic, you shouldn't exist either. And yet here you are. That's my point, exactly. I think you already have. You are the godlike of a heretical god. A contradiction to her reality. Can you imagine how much she needs you to die? Her entire worldview depends on it. Who knows? Maybe that uncertainty is enough to make her mortal again. Or maybe not. I'm just theorizing as I go. Whatever happens, I want to see it for myself. For the research. Pleasant dreams. I can't wait to give the steel garrote.
You should get some sleep. Big day coming up. Well, I'm just fine. More or less. I've been in a lot of dangerous situations, but it's always been a fight to survive. It's just a fight. Putting my life on the line for someone else's cause. It's the opposite of survival. It's foolishness. Duke de Dragu, Envoy. I'm not afraid. I'm a guide and a hunter, not a soldier. We're about to go out there and risk our lives for, what? A concept of how things ought to be? We might die, all to determine who sleeps in the nicest house in Paradise until the island decides it's time for a change. It's fine. Really. But it's some blessed day Sokka when you think about it. I feel like you're not trying to make me feel better. I'll be all right, Envoy. You go get some blessed day rest.
I've been meaning to tell you something. Sending my people to Paradise is a bold move. Bold, but more importantly, unpredictable. For now, the Steel Garrote will keep a watchful eye on my people. But we will do the same to them, from inside the lion's den. Meanwhile, the Adherents will enjoy their false sense of security for however long it lasts. Look, I know you didn't come to this island to help us. And yet you were here when others would have looked away. Despite everything that happened, it means a lot. Not a chance. You're going to accept my gratitude and enjoy every second of it. Well, onward to better things. If you need anything, you know where to find me. Pleasant dreams. I can't believe it. Ranger Dorsal, a traitor to Fior Messiverno. And you let her go. Fior survived the attack. But that doesn't make this right. Tell me, do you have any respect for the autonomy of the Living Lands? Or are we just the Empire's plaything? And I'm just supposed to accept that? What nonsense. We'll discuss this another time. If and when I have the mental energy to deal with you. Between the two of us, thank you for helping Yatsli reach that vase. Maybe it seems like nothing to you, but to her it's everything. When you consider how many Orlans and dwarves there are, it's outrageous that we build so high off the ground. What a pain. Don't let her size fool you. On the inside, Yatsli stands as tall as a mountain. One of these days she's going to change the world, shake things up. And I'll be at her side, grinning like a fool. Talk to her. I'm sure you two have a lot in common. Thanks for talking. Katoa and Hayako. An interesting pair. They were trying to protect their community. From your people, no less. And you killed them. Was it? I only bring it up because people are growing wary of your empire. With good reason. Just don't give them an excuse to take their anger out on us. Anyway, just wanted to get that off my chest. Until next time. When I joined you, I thought we'd be exploring the intersection of the physical and the spiritual, not bickering over sulfur. Yet here we are. Without those mines, Thirdborn has no gunpowder. They lost an advantage when they needed it most. I would hope you see us as more than potential enemies. At the end of the day, bullets are of limited use against the Dream Scourge. And it'll take more than gunpowder to wrest the Living Lands out of your Empire's clutches. Anyway, what do I know? I'm an animancer, not a strategist. Not before I've done. Solace has a few old-fashioned ideas about animancy, to put it lightly. Thank you for letting Petru go free. Animancy is not a crime, but many feel entitled to treat it as one. As do I. Whether or not Petru is successful as an animancer, he has a right to learn the art. And it's good to know someone out there is defending his rights. Not before I've done. Many animancers believe that nature is there to be measured, controlled, subverted. Well, I've been contemplating that assumption. Quite a bit, in fact. Unfortunately, we killed a Delimgan, a guardian of nature, and for what? so Solace could plunder its habitat. For once, I'm not defending Fior Messiverno. I've spent my life trying to dominate nature, to overcome the limitations of our existence for the good of everyone, just like my mother. But what if Animancers coexisted with the natural world, supporting instead of exploiting? That's Animancy for you. Unstoppable ambition against immovable challenges. Killing a Delimgan is not what I'd call a good start, but that's no reason to give up. From now on, let's be on our best behavior. Nature is watching. Thanks for talking. Who's next? Anyone? We've got company. Nicely done!
What was that?
Me too!
gate. I'll protect your back. That's one for us.
Just what everyone needs at the end. Someone to watch him die.
Didn't you explode just a little bit the last time we saw you?
Barely holding on, really. I'll always thank the gods that we took down the mines and crippled the Living Land's resistance. Survive. They flatter me. I'm barely hanging on. Those resistance bastards did a number on me, as you can see. On that note, I'm glad to see you. I can't believe, after everything we accomplished in Shatterscarp, that you would betray the Emperor. Why, Envoy? Why not? Because the Emperor placed his trust in you, Envoy. You won't stop us. Even if I'm food for worms. One way or another, these lands belong to Adir.
Easy when you do
Cruel Sur Mesnitum!
I think I sprained my shoulder.
Stop right
You asked us for it.
Let's finish this.
exactly do you think you're doing? You nearly died in my clinic. Correction, you did die. And now look at you, fighting the steel garrote. What have you got to say for yourself? That's the worst excuse I've ever heard, and believe me, I've heard it all. We're patching up folks as best we can, but I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. War is a damn bloody mess. I hope you're right, Envoy. I can't say I approve of you leaping into the fray, but it's always nice catching up with a former patient. How about you, Giada? Holding up all right?
Well, we have to do battle with the Death Guard, so I have that to look forward to. Do you need anything? Money, supplies?
Once this is over, I could always use another pair of hands at the clinic. The invitation's still open.
Thank you, but I've decided to tough it out as an animancer, on my own terms. Can you manage without me?
Are you kidding? I'm happy for you. Besides, I've got Chico on bandage duty. I just wanted you to know there's a place here whenever you want it. Gods be with you, Envoy. For my sake, try not to die a second time.
Come on. You know this. You practice with Uncle Capo 100 times. Tight, but not too tight. You don't want to cut off the blood flow. Godlike! Paradise could use your help. Hit the envoy!
Miss me too! You miss me too!
Never had a chance.
Just go. I've got the water.
That'll show him.
You.
Mordecai demands your submission. Stand against her and fall.
Let's pay Ludwig one final visit, shall we? Let's make sure she stays dead this time. All right, dearie?
There you are.
So, you survived the garden. Did you come all this way just to try your luck again? To kill me more efficiently than last time? You'll get your chance. Look around, Envoy. Heelguard should have listened. He tried to bring order through compromise. He failed. Order is meant to be imposed by a stern, guiding hand. Well, well. Hilgard managed to do one thing right. I might actually have to congratulate him on a job well done.
Not before you've dealt with us.
As for you, Sapadal may be gone, but their offspring remains. And I cannot suffer even a remnant to live. Congratulations on being the last of your kind. At least Sapadal cannot trouble us with another godlike. Their lineage ends here. Steel yourself, Envoy. Make this a fight to remember, even in death. You will. You must. You have no choice. Face me and die with honor. Or fall to your knees and die as a coward. How you die doesn't matter, but you will die. Every vestige of Sapadal must be wiped from this earth. The Burned Queen demands it. Blasphemy! Sapadal was a clot in the heart of the world. What could they matter to the true gods of Eora? I would have killed your god if you hadn't put them down yourself. Hear me, Envoy. I am the avatar of the Burned Queen, the goddess of retribution. I am her sword arm, her will in the world. And so long as I can fight, I will be her champion. I've done all that I could. She sees that. She must. It isn't my fault. Whenever you could, you stood in my way. I believed we were alike, Envoy. That when the time came for you to prove your loyalty, you would choose Adir. I believed the dream of our future, of our resurgent empire, would move you as it does me. And if that failed, I believed the Burn Queen would stop you. Yet here you stand before me, my enemy, unopposed by the gods. Why? No! The Burned Queen witnessed my devotion and accepted me as her champion. I don't need anything else. I can still prevail. I must. I feel her fire in me. I know I do. Wonica, my lady, where are you? No! It's not true! Stop! I can't! No! 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 Forgive me! Wonica!
Wherever Ludwine is now, she must be seething.
Of course, we'd be happy to kill her again, if needed.
She's done for, but we're not. Whatever's next, we'll face it. Together.
Gods, you're all gonna make me sick. But carry on.
Silence falls over Paradise, as though the city is holding its breath. Then you hear it, the ringing of a distant bell, the waving of banners, and cheers of victory. After a short and bloody conflict, the dust has finally begun to settle. There is an absence in your thoughts where Sapadal dwelled. Once, the god of the living lands would have flinched at this rare moment of tranquility. Instead, they are one with the silence. The Paradise militia rallies to you, the outsider who defended them in their hour of need. Whatever happens next, you have won their confidence. You take a moment to reflect on the calm. Not so long ago, you arrived at these shores on a simple errand, which turned out to be anything but simple. The Dream Scourge is over, and the island has been cleansed of plague. A time of healing and mourning follows. People look to you for answers about the source of the affliction. You tell them the truth, how the origin of the plague has been destroyed, put out of its misery, and leave it at that. The Living Lands is now a colony of the Adiran Empire. New governments replace the old, and imperial law reigns over the frontier. An age of order and discipline is just over the horizon. The rebels of Paradise are not so fortunate. Over the years, more of their hidden sanctuaries are rooted out by the Emperor's soldiers, until they have nowhere left to run. They flee, or perish. The refugees of Emerald Stair find a cold welcome in the city of Paradise. Animancy is frowned upon, but their knowledge of agriculture is highly valued. The first bountiful harvest improves relations. In time, the people of Emerald Stair return to their city of Fior Messiverno. However, the Empire does not tolerate forbidden research. Animancy is forced into dark alleys, away from the eyes of the law. The older Thirdborners who remember Rawatai know that life under an empire is cyclical. In time, Adir's might will fade. But the younger kith of the settlement remember what Thirdborn used to be, while having lost so many to an archmage's spell, and straining under the yoke of an empire. Despite the line of Adiran ships bearing fine goods, their rage is a powder keg that sits and waits. For a brief but hopeful moment, Solace Keep opens the fortress doors to the new rulers of the Living Lands, allowing Adirans to come and go as they please. But the peace does not hold. Lacking patience for the Empire's unyielding demands, Mihala shuts the doors once again, issuing a warning. Those who trespass in Solace Keep will not leave alive. The Adirans waste no time gathering their forces, for an example must be made. When Kai leaves the Living Lands, he is no longer running. For the first time in many years, he can face the future. He returns to Rawatai, committed to peace for his people, those he left in Rawatai, as well as those he found in the Living Lands. He joins the Ranganui's council, counterbalancing powerful voices of isolationism and hawkishness. It is a long and difficult battle, and he is happy to fight it. With many of his anxieties and lifelong fears addressed, Marius now feels very differently than he did when he first met the envoy. Still far more comfortable in the wilds than among people, he nonetheless finds that his worries about the unknown were merely self-protection against the traumas of his childhood. Armed with this knowledge, he finds himself more capable of living in civilization, and far less fearful of his home in Galawain's tusks. While he never regains his former place as a Warden of Solace, he spends his time traveling between Solace and Thirdborn, acting as a stubborn ambassador between the two. Giada continues to improve as an animancer. She dedicates her work to the spiritual health of the Living Lands,
nurturing instead of exploiting. Others follow her example, seeking her tutelage from lands far and wide. In the years to come, rumors spread of a secret society gathering in the wilderness, where animancers work in harmony with nature. The dream of Fior Mes Iverno lives on in her. In a past life, Yahtzee was given a task: protect the history and knowledge of the godless. Now, many lifetimes later, she continues upholding that oath. She moves into the library in the garden, spending her days poring over the clay tablets there. But not even the letters from, and rare visit to, her lover help ease the loneliness that fills her days. Alone in your thoughts, you feel endless opportunities stretching out before you. This is the freedom Sapadol never had. You promise to cherish it. The sounds of celebration pull you out of reverie. Many are waiting to greet you with open arms. You take a moment to catch your breath and savor it, because everything is about to change.